again, my friend, and welcome back. Session 6, movement. Now, all the stretching, all the yoga, all the meditation in the world does absolutely zero people, does nobody any good, unless they're interested in lasting peace, which is all well and good. It's amazing, everyone should be interested in that, but all this should be for a reason, an intent, some purpose that drives you. Now, whether that reason is to reduce the pain that your injury causes, whether that reason is because you want a better sleep, maybe you have a herniated disc that keeps you tossing and turning, or maybe you just want to understand yourself a little bit better, maybe something else. Regardless, it's reducing this thing that drives you. There's a change that you want to affect. There's something that's reducing your effectiveness, it's causing a strain in your psycho-emotional process, and chances are you're putting in a lot of energy and effort into this thing that you'd much rather put into other parts of your life. So this is sort of a drain. And the same is true even if you don't have an injury and are just trying to understand your body better and your psycho-emotional process. I'm talking to you too. So to be a more effective representation of yourself in every moment, to grow, to expand, to transcend, you have to be able to move. You don't really have to, but it really does help. And that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to start having you do in this lesson. Now, with practice, visualizing, with practice tuning into the region of interest, perhaps an injury, a source of pain or trauma, you will be able to focus your awareness on different locations within your body-mind, internally within your mind or internally to your body. And with more practice, you'll be able to focus your attention faster and faster, decreasing time between recognition states, getting really kind of fast like a ninja. Applied internally, you will realize a more active control, or rather awareness is the same thing over your emotional state. You will also be using your emotional and mental resources at the optimum level for whatever your chosen state of being is. It's limited only by your imagination, only by the limits of what you decide will be available for you. It can be as epic as you want. The mechanism that is used to release tension through body scans and through asanas is the same assess, release, surrender platform that's used here, like internally to the mind. So notice any sort of expansion that you release whenever you release tension during the asana practice, and you'll find that you associate a similar positive feeling about finding limiting belief structures and habitual habits of thought and action. You do this until speedy recognition becomes the norm. And this increased efficiency very rapidly expands to other elements of your awareness, from the micro to the macro. This is a global buff across your entire life. And better navigating the flows of life simply becomes second nature because you're not so sticky. You're not so attached to everything. With practice, shifting your awareness through your body and through the focal point for your body mind's consciousness, you will begin to rapidly gain insight into the chosen nature, or into the nature of your chosen injury, trauma, memory, pain point, whatever it is. Now, during a movement, whenever you, let's say you feel like a twinge of some kind, you have a chance to consider the relationship between your thoughts and look into how you feel as well. So you can check in and ask yourself, hey, how am I feeling right now? Who am I thinking I'm going to be? And this is where we can start training the mind. This is where the power of positive reinforcement comes into play. So you can think of it as recognizing the aha moment. Positive reinforcement is the master key to liberation. It is how the mind is trained. It is the primary foundation of change. It's recognizing what you're doing and pointing your entire being towards that with single-minded determination, single-pointed concentration. It is essential that you do not resort to negative stimuli to prod yourself onwards. However, this is how we're conditioned. This is the behaviors that we've allowed, that the environment cultivates in us. So if you notice that you have a limiting belief or that you feel bad about something, you can gently bring your attention back and feel good about having noticed it, and then feel doubly good for having brought yourself back from it. Now, in this way, you make this recognition faster, more available. You make it a smoother process, this recognition and pulling yourself back. And when we engage with self-judgment or self-recrimination, the recognition of our attention having strayed or gone, or we're doing something we don't want, the mind starts to associate this recognition as a bad thing. And over time, your attention will stray even further, or you'll be doing that thing even more. It'll just be unconscious. Now, if you get down on yourself for noticing that you feel bad in the first place, you will be less likely to notice it next time. And this, my friend, is such a big issue that I think it deserves to be said again. Yeah. Whenever you recognize that your attention has strayed or you've done something bad, quote unquote, feel good at having recognized it, and then gently redirect your attention. To do otherwise is to train your mind to be even more scattered, to do that thing even more. When you have an aha moment of recognizing that you feel bad, acknowledge that it happened, and feel joy at having recognized that fact. It's a good thing. You're connected. We're going to go over this into the asana sequence, dynamic movement. So find a good location, good airflow, free from bugs and dust, and set aside the next 20 minutes or so to really let this lesson settle in. Positive reinforcement and expanding your perspective. So take a deep breath between the beginning and end of each posture. And remember to body scan with every breath, and then if your awareness becomes centered on a particular location, to simply observe if the location has any sort of tension. Simply witness it, allow it to be, let it come, let it go, and then identify any other possibilities for holding yourself in that particular position. Allow your body to find the natural restful ease in each pose, and remember, listen to your body and open your awareness. Try to notice the pulse in each pose as you make micro movements with the breath. And the postures that you hold won't become rigid if you continue to breathe deeply, if you're aware of the undulating wave that ascends throughout the whole body. If you allow yourself to guide your movements with your breath and simply feel good. Feel good at having recognized what it is that you're doing. And to expand your perspective. And to simply allow whatever comes, whatever tension arises, whatever the particular flavor of your psycho-emotional process is while doing this, whether you're impatient, whether you're frustrated, whether you're happy, whether you're grateful, simply allowing these appearances to arise and pass away within the space of your sky-like awareness. And then reinforce the recognition. You will make continued awareness and effortless flow more and more available to your experience. That effortless flow will become the natural state. This is the primal, unconditioned state. This is the raw state from which we derive our sense of stress and strain. Stress and strain is not the natural state. The natural state is one of effortless flow, joy, and happiness, unending bliss and gratitude, of being connected with all things. Because after all, we don't just come separate from the world. We don't come separate like from a stork from outside. We successfully navigate the birth canal. We go from one organism to another, to another, to another. And we're part of this vast, complicated, interconnected whole. And most of these connections are entirely invisible. Just like the connections and interrelationships within our body. And as within, so without. As we're working with our body, so too are we working with our mind. It's happening below the layers of conscious thought. It does not mean that it's not happening. So, let's get to it.